We're here with the new president of Milestone Scientific. Arjan, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. Enjoying it.
Arjan, for our viewers, let's start with a brief overview of Milestone Scientific and its innovative injection technology portfolio.
Yeah, Milestone Scientific is a medical research and development company that designs and patents in the area of injection technology. And we own the space of computer-controlled injection technology. We used that technology for numerous years, where we performed over 90 million injections and with an installed base of 20,000 units in the dental segment. And then recently we decided as a company in the last couple of years to enter also the medical segment, and then in particular in the first phase, the epidural market.
You were recently promoted to president. How long have you been with Milestone, and what can you tell us about your new role and plans to accelerate Milestone's commercialization strategy?
Yeah, so I joined the company as of June 1st, initially as president and CEO of the One Dental Incorporated. That's the dental business. And then recently I was promoted as president for Milestone, so covering both medical and dental. The primary target for the dental is, bringing the business back to normal levels prior to the pandemic. As you know, the dental industry have been hit pretty hard by the pandemic because many dental offices closed. Although we see a reopening of the dental offices, and that's also very promising for us. And we also expect that our revenues in Q3 would be a multiple of at least 4 of the revenues in the second quarter. So the needle is moving in the right direction. In regards to the medical part of our business, that is really supporting and initiating the commercialization of the epidural concept, not only in the United States, but also internationally. So that is, setting up and supporting the sales teams and the sales channel, identifying and communicating the right value proposition, and making sure that we get the revenues that we are expecting. And more importantly, of course, is increasing shareholder value for the company based on our expectations that we have of our business concept moving forward.
Arjan, Milestone's injection technology could become the new standard of care for epidurals. Let's talk about the economics of the technology and your business model. How does Milestone make money?
Yeah, so let me explain first what happens prior to come to the standard of care. If we look in the epidural space, 2.4 million epidural procedures in labor and delivery are performed on an annual basis in the United States out of 4 million births. And you can say from those 2.4 versus the 4 million, it's still 1.6 million people or female women are not choosing the epidural procedures because of the risk factors. And the risk factors are associated that if the procedures is not performed well, there can be migraine for up to 6 weeks, severe migraine, I would say. It is transient paralysis can occur. And even there are cases reported where there are permanent paralysis reported, and in some cases mortality, although that is rarely seen. So that is one factor. The second factor is the cost of education. As you know, students need to be educated also in this procedure. And the competition per today is actually the hypodermic syringe invented in the 1820s, without many developments and changes later on that resulted in the loss of resistance or the loss of pressure technique. What actually happens is that the anesthesiologist with that syringe feels pressure on his plunger as he moves forward. And if there is a loss of pressure, he believes that or thinks that he is in the epidural space. Now, there's a lot of other fatty tissues or, let's say, low density tissues that can give then a false positive result. So in other words, the drug is not administered and delivered into the right space. And then if you even would go further in the epidural space, you hit the membrane and the needle will enter the spinal canal, and then that results in cerebral spinal fluid leakage that causes then the morbidity rate. Third aspect is the cost of litigation. That can be more than $300,000 per litigation cost, which is a decent amount of cost. Now, let's say if we want to be the standard of care, let's then assume that in those 2 million epidural procedures that we would perform, and based on our current profit margins on our consumables, that would result in a net profit of $80 million on an annual basis. So we believe that we have the concept, we have proven the concept, we have the business model supporting it, and we also believe that this absolutely can become the standard of care.
How big is the market opportunity, Arjan?
Well, the market opportunity is enormous because what is important to understand is we are not an epidural injection company. Our concept can be used in intra-articular. It can be used for peripheral nerve blocks. So we have plans also to enter the Botox market. But if you look, giving an example at the epidural market, in the United States, there are about 11 million epidural procedures a year. Worldwide, this is 30 million epidural procedures per year, and it's one of the fastest growing market segments in the medical industry. And I already have reiterated, what if we only focus on the 2 million out of the 4 million births, that is just then a fraction of the total market that we address. So the 18 million in profit actually can become even more when we also enter these other market segments that I just mentioned.
Arjan, what's the essential value proposition? Why should investors own Milestone Scientific?
Well, I think first, talking about the 8 million net profit that I estimated, I think for the time being we have roughly about 80 million shares, and based on becoming the standard of care based on these 2 million procedures, epidural procedures in labor and delivery, it would result in $1 in net profit per share that will then come to the $80 million. Now, another factor why investors should invest in us is the value proposition, because we address all the three aspects. Like I said, we avoid the current morbidity rates. We avoid the false positive rate. I did not elaborate on that, but false positive will mean that the doctor doesn't know whether the needle is in the right place. And in literature, we know that from market research, that percentage is 17%. Then thirdly, of course, the patient benefit, it is safe. From a training point of view, we reduce the time of training, so we save costs there as well. It is high efficient, and we reduce then the litigation cost. So in combination with the profits that I already mentioned, I think this is a very interesting value proposition from a financial point of view.
It's a great story, Arjan. Thanks for the update.
Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.